My name is George Flynn. I was born in Moosomin, Saskatchewan, June 23rd, 1919. I was enlisted on November the 22nd, 1940, discharged January the 9th, 1946. Lance Corporal, Corporal, Lance Sergeant, back to Corporal. Incidentally, any rank you had here in Canada prior to going overseas, you had to turn that in too, revert back. The guy that I went with, he was a confirmed sergeant. He had to revert back. I've watched them to see how inaccurate they are. Oh yeah, during Carpiquet. This is the afternoon after we got back to the company. We had overrun what I think you would describe as a pillbox, okay? It was a huge concrete, and it had a steel door, and it's probably about 3 inches thick, the steel door. Down below, you walk down there's a slot in it, and that covered pretty well that portion of the airfield. That's for a machine gun. And what we did, we get down in there, they couldn't touch us once we get in there, below that slot, they couldn't get near us. We put what they call a beehive mine. It's a small mine, and actually it's shaped like a beehive. It's a controlled charge, okay, directed, try to blow into this door. We've probably done damage to the paint, that's about it. So then we put in what they call a general weight. And where we got that, at this point, I can't tell you. We certainly didn't pack it in, because they weigh 80 pounds. Put that on, it made a little dent in the door. That's 80 pounds of PHE. And it had 2 ventilators on top. So we dropped 2 or 3 grenades down there, probably maybe half a dozen, I don't know. And they were still in there. So we had 2 jerry tins of petrol. We dumped one down and lit it. We burned the oxygen out. Then they come out. What they had, there was rooms off the one side with steel doors on too. And there was 2 SS officers in there. They were in these rooms. And that's why they wouldn't come out. And the Wehrmacht, the German soldiers, they were dead. One wasn't. There was one alive. He was wounded, but wasn't. But the officers, they were in these rooms. But once they got the oxygen burned out, they come out. They duplicated exactly what we'd done on that Dirty Dozen, only on a lot more massive scale. They were dumping buckets of grenades down. I don't know how they fired them. They dump a bucket down, and then they dumped 15 or 20 jerry tins of petrol down. There was 1 tin. I think it was 2 or 3 grenades. But they duplicated that. Now how they got that, I don't know. But definitely, that was it. But I've never seen that story. I've never, other than having experienced it, I wouldn't know anything about it. And I fired my rifle once. Actually, I think I fired twice. I had a rifle in France. I run across a cow with a broken leg. So I shot it. That was my contribution to the war. I landed on D-Day. We landed on a infantry landing craft And that's the only infantry landing craft I've ever seen. I never saw any at D-Day. I never saw any prior to that. But anyway, we landed on one. But as we got very close to shore, I went below. And I hadn't even sat down when we hit a mine. And right in the bow of the boat. And it blew. And within 30 seconds, I had water up to my chest. We lost 2 guys, one badly wounded, leg mangled, and one was dead. Well, it took us possibly half an hour. We finally got a rope line ashore, tied off, and got all those people come in on the line. I was the first ashore, actually, and I walked away from it. I never even thought of it for many, many years. And as time goes by, you think more of it. Day by day, you think more of what happened there. But for many, many years, no, I never thought of it. Or it does seep in occasionally, but you try not to think of it. I remember Christmas. Christmas Eve, we were laying a minefield. The Germans were probably 200-300 yards out front of us. They had a PA system set up, playing Silent Night. We were possibly 4 or 5 miles out of Nijmegen, in a farmhouse, a farm barn actually. Well, it was a house and barn, all one unit, and we had the upstairs. And living with us was a couple with two little boys. They were obviously became attached to us, because I recall the evening we left there, the mother and father and those 2 little guys come down, and those two little guys were crying, and of all the people to pick to hang on to, they were hanging on to me. So I dug around my pack sack. I found 2 chocolate bars. That eased the situation.